Greetings. My name is Julius Jones. I am currently a student in the Applied Kinesiology and Physiology master's degree program online for the University of Florida. And this is my presentation on creatine growth, and the facts about creatine in respect to ergogenic aids and their benefits. So, what is creatine? Creatine is a compound that's naturally made in the body, found in muscle cells, and is what we call the ready-to-go energy that we use whenever we initiate movement. So whenever we're typing, picking up a pencil, drop something on the floor, pouring a glass of water, more than likely we are using creatine in order to supply that energy. What creatine actually does is it helps produce more ATP. Helps to produce this energy. It has similar effects to amino acids in regards to being able to recover from a strenuous activity or any type of stress or stimuli that is put on a muscle belly. 95% of creatine stores are within the muscle cells of the body, and 5% are in the crucial organs such as the liver, the brain, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, and reproductive organs as well. It comes in many forms. Some are powdered. It can also come in a pill form. Some supplement companies also produce it or put it into their drinks, into their liquid drinks for you to consume. However, the blends may typically vary. Now, there are several types of creatine. We won't get into that just yet, but there are creatine blends which typically have more than one creatine type in it, and then there are creatine concentrates, I guess you could call it, to where they only have one specific chemical structure of creatine within that product. Now, how creatine works. The way that creatine works is obviously we consume it first, and as we're working out, we typically burn ATP. So as you all know, when we burn ATP, that reduces to ADP, and then we have a phosphate molecule that is separated from the ATP. Now, what creatine does is it supplies greater AMP, which is a adenosine monophosphate, which then combines with ADP to create more ATP. So in essence, it gives you a storage of energy that is there to help you to recover in the midst of you working out, so that you can get into the next movement a little bit quicker, or the next exercise a little bit quicker, requiring a little bit less of a break time. This helps increase muscle mass, obviously, because now we can increase the volume. Also with that, creatine pulls water into the muscle belly. So with the creatine pulling water into the muscle belly, we're increasing the size of the cross-sectional area of the muscle. So with us increasing the size of the cross-sectional area of the muscle, theoretically, we should be able to lift a little bit more, obviously, because the muscle is a little bit bigger. So with an increased cross-sectional area, we should be able to generate a larger contraction. Now, creatine also reduces the myostatin levels, which Myostatin, as we know, is the hormone that blocks or limits the production of muscle growth. So with us reducing the myostatin levels, we can now reach a higher level of physical growth due to the creatine that we introduce to our bodies. Now, the effectiveness of creatine. There were a multitude of studies done on the effectiveness of creatine. A majority of the studies that I looked at agree that there is a significant increase in leg strength and muscle mass of older adults. So it is effective for just about all populations from 18 up until our eldest athletic performer. So with that being said, this can be effective for obviously college kids, adults, and then adults transitioning into their later adulthood. In addition to that, creatine also increases muscle fiber growth 2 to 3 times more than just training alone. So not only are you receiving a benefit, but you're receiving a benefit at a larger value. So this growth is not only happening with the assistance of creatine, but it's actually speeding up the growth with the assistance of creatine. So with that increased growth, the increased growth rate, we should also experience greater stress adaptation. So we should experience a greater jump in strength gains while we are consuming creatine. Now, here's a study by Kreider and Jung. This just shows us the difference of creatine stores within the muscles, comparing vegetarians to what we consider normal dietary consumers, individuals that creatine loaded, so they took creatine on a regular basis, and then individuals that did creatine loading, taking creatine on a regular basis, in conjunction with carbohydrate loading or protein loading. As we can see from this study here, individuals that loaded with creatine in conjunction with carbohydrate loading or protein loading saw the greatest amount of benefit in comparison to individuals that just did creatine loading, were on just a normal diet or actively consumed a vegetarian diet. Now, the question that we all want to know in regards to creatine, is creatine right for you? Well, that depends on who you are. That depends on your age, mainly your age, and mainly current medical conditions. So it's not recommended for all ages, specifically individuals that are under the age of 18 due to, obviously with puberty, hormonal changes are still going on. The last thing that we want to do is throw off the balance of those hormonal levels by introducing supplementary chemicals or hormones that would then start to suppress the amount of creatine that our body would make on its own, due to our body then sort of adapting to us not needing to produce as much. So I wouldn't recommend it for anyone under the age of 18. Anyone over the age of 18, for the most part, should be fine taking it as long as they aren't nursing or pregnant. It can severely affect female athletes that are nursing or pregnant. It may cause some complications within the pregnancy itself. In addition to that, we also want to avoid taking creatine if we are on specific medications. So if you are on specific medications for things such as high blood pressure or diabetes or any type of heart issues, you would definitely want to consult with your physician first before just taking creatine on your own. Now, here are some references that I used in regards to this creatine study. A lot of the information that I pulled for this study for this presentation came from these studies, and they have an ample amount of additional material that you may seek out if you wish to inquire more about the positive effects of creatine. Now, thank you all for coming to my TED Talk.